Okay. Uh, what today we'll just discuss something on reaction versus response. Look at this. This was given by Dalai Lama and Paul Ekman. He is supposed to be German psychologist. Both these put together, they have given the concept they call the emotional atlas. Emotional atlas.
Yes.
This model, and this is 2016 onward. This is the latest thing they are really talking about it. He says, look at, when I look back at my knee-jerk reaction, now I realize I should have just given a breath. Matlab what? I should have given some time for myself to think whether my reaction is right or not so right. Okay. If that is the case now, his model is like this. Any situation that we enter, situation is what? Situation has got certain problems. Certain has got problem, isn't it? These situations may be a small problem or a big problem, but we enter into situation when there's certain amount of problem. Maybe trivial, day-to-day problem, maybe big. So we enter that situation with certain preconditions. Precondition because I may have had a not so good relations with my peers in between when I have entered this situation, or I was in probably good mood, my situation will be different. So my mental condition which I enter a situation is different. And this in turn is triggered by the event and the database perception database that we have got it. These three things, condition, precondition, event, and perception, trigger certain amount of reaction into our, certain emotion in our mind. That emotional state will result in certain physical change or a psychological change. And because of the changes that has occurred, emotional state, we call it emotional state which is there, this emotional state will result in certain amount of action which may be constructive or may be destructive. Constructive, maybe you have resolved this. Destructive, maybe probably fought it out, that may be destructive. And then, because of the result of constructive or destructive action that we have gotten, we come back to postcondition. Now, it never enters that because it is not that if the event is over, I am free. Because mind keeps thinking about the same event. As a result, we go back, it's a loop, go back again precondition to solve it or reject it. So we apply a filter, as we call low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter. So we'll think about only particular situation, we'll not think about beyond that. So now, based upon that, it is like, so what reaction is like a street dog who keeps walking at each and every person. Whereas a trained dog will keep waiting for the right opportunity and it will pounce upon the enemy or to whosoever he thinks is the enemy who is going to harm his master. So similarly, the reaction is we should not bark. We should not be taking just react and taking decision. We must think whether our decision or reaction that we are showing it is right or not. So it is like a trained dog. So what is this? When we talk about precondition, is the context or situation which may influence the way we enter the situation. Now, when we say context or situation, what is the situation? It is a problem. Today, I am feeling hungry. I must eat. That's the situation, isn't it? Now, probably my mother may not be there, my wife may not be there, or someone else who is supposed to cook has not come. Something, there may be such a problem. And so subjective experience is no. So this will result in reaction or response. Reaction is instinctual to act, just like you go to since you have been to a village, go near a cow, whether you like it or not, that sir hilayega. Go near buffalo, he'll try and go. That's instinctual. So instead, act, say, write, behave, stemming from the subconscious mind. It is not, it is unconscious you're doing it. Without filtering process, without thinking what effect it is going to have. So it works on the autopilot mode. And reactions is like, as I just know, it's like a puppy, like a street dog who keeps walking on, who has not been trained. Untrained puppy is going to bark at each and every dog it sees, or each and every person it comes, and you keep jumping left, right, and center. On the contrary, responses are more thoughtful. First, explore in mind the possible outcome, what result would it have, weighing the pros and cons and considering what would be best in this situation. So this is what we should really be doing, both in our life as well as when you are appearing for SSB, both TAT, WT, SRT, even when you are going to GTO or even an interviewing officer. Responses are more like a well-trained behaved dog who comes when you call him, barks only when there is reason to bark, and waits for the patiently for the treat or whatever that he gets it. Now, so what is the problem? Your psychological state may be I am feeling hungry. Emotional can be, so I am a state in which I enter. It can be, if you are hungry, you will not concentrate on the event. Then what triggers is that event? This describes a person, place, situation, image, thought, memory, smell, sound, taste, or idea that we encounter from outside world. The person, place, situation. Suppose in SRT, they give you, no, you're organizing a match and there's a fight in between. So that situation has been created for you. Similarly, in a TAT, the certain images are given to you, and you have to react. So that's the event as far as you are concerned. So we are constantly, so this is what happens, depending upon the situation or image or thought, whatever comes from there, we are automatically analyzing that. Our mind keeps analyzing it. Whether we like or see, keeps analyzing it. Okay. So when we hear a simple example, when we hear a new song, we instantly overlaying our knowledge of instrument. This song was played on piano or guitar, something like that. We play overlay. We start overlaying certain thing onto the event that is there. Okay. What is precondition database? These are universal hardwired responses and are individually acquired emotional memories. What has happened in past, from childhood till now, you have acted, reacted in a certain fashion. It has given success, or it has probably eluded your success. Whatever be the condition, you perceive that this is what is going to happen now. Suppose, you had your mummy has cooked a good dosa, and the smell of dosa is always triggers certain, okay, when you something around there, oh, I'm going to get dosa today. So the smell is only triggers what is there. So that's the trigger. So that is a person. Based upon event, pre-perception, perception database, and precondition with which we entered, there's certain trigger occurs. This trigger describes the combination of the automatic appraisal matching to some universal hardware acquired script on our database. So that's why when we said give you TAT, we expect that it will go and hit you. It will correlate to certain past event in your mind, in your unconscious or subconscious or conscious mind, and you will automatically react into that particular fashion itself. So this is the trigger. Based upon the trigger, what happens? There's certain emotional state in which you come into play. And because of the state, this kind of emotion itself includes of physical or psychological changes which will occur. So this may have physical changes. When you go to TAT, say when you go to GTO, when you have to climb up on a height, you get scared. That's a physical change. Start shaking. That's a physical change. Psychological change may when you are going to being interviewed, you may be sweating. It's because of anxiety that has taken control of you. So that is what is happening, the state. And then based upon this, you will take certain action. Action are, this is kind of emotional responses. This could be external behavior or internal. External behavior, in this case, since you are going to psychological testing, you will either write a good story or not so good story. That is what external behavior. But how has it triggered? Because of internal thought process that you have been undertaken on. So this emotion in the atlas shows a range of immediate action that you will take it, as well as intrinsic or intention intentions action. What is intrinsic means unknowingly. The action can be constructive or destructive. As in SRT, they give you, suppose you're going on a bike with your sister, trail basis, some goons stops you. What do you do? To one, constructive descent, but you would like to safeguard your sister who is with you. Destructive, maybe you start fighting and probably you land with a problem itself. Maybe I don't know what. So there's a actions are constructive as well as destructive. This will result in what we call a postcondition. This is the result or impact of emotional action, which could be external or internal. Postcondition. Just like if someone is there, you start shouting at him. That's the external reaction, isn't it? Postcondition. Or you may be, since he is stronger, probably you will keep quiet and start, internally only you are trying to brood upon it. Postcondition could lead to our next episode emotion. And if someone is yelling at you, probably you may shout it back. Or you come back with certain amount of sadness, regret, what is there. So our postcondition is an opportunity for us to build emotional awareness. So what we said, we must think what our reaction is right or not right through reflection on our emotion to understand the trigger, identify the felt experience, consider the impact of this will have in my next situation. As a result, now you will apply a filter because selective filtering period is initiated with the onset of action and signals. Perception is narrowed down and distorted because start thinking, how can I get out of it in a particular situation? Filtering and interpreting information relevant to and consistent with the prevailing emotion because you forget everything else. When you're surrounded by goons, you just want to escape and all other reaction, all other thinking is gone. Okay, when fear is out, there is heightened sensitivity to real and imagined threats. Someone is going to eat me, someone is going to kill me. Then he कहता है, they will learn display rules to regulate. So he says, okay, if the situation go bad, how am I going to react? So learn feeling rules, display rule and feeling rule. Display rule are to regulate signals, especially in the case of services. Now, when you are going to meet an enemy, you do not know what situation is going to come. And you cannot afford to be acting irrationally. You ought to act in a particular predetermined condition so that success, because we fight to succeed. We never go to battle to lose. We cannot afford to lose. Either he kills me or I'm going to kill him. That's a simple game. If that is the case now, so I must learn a display rule to regulate. I must regulate, even if I am getting, I would say outnumbered by the number of enemies which are there. I should not display it. I know I'm outnumbered. I have to use my learned feeling rules to modify, amplify, suppress subjective feeling and must suppress that and act in the situation that is available to me. We do not know how quickly these will occur. Do they occur before signal action? So this is how they call filtering. They call filtering. Okay. So this is how what I expect you when you attempt TAT, WAT, SRT around there. You must act in a rational way. You cannot afford to be irrational. We all, no person on the earth says he has got no fear. All of us have got fear. It may be fear of examination, it may be fear of enemy, it may be fear of strength, it can be anything new. We do not know how to act. So what do? We take control of our fear. We take control of fear. No one in the world can say that we don't get angry. We all get angry. But who channelizes that anger in the right direction? He is the person who is successful. So we must show our anger at the right time, right place, right degree, and right direction. This is how you should really try and act in complete all tests, all three tests. Irrespective, I'm not talking about only for psychological tests. It can be for any other, all three tests and anywhere you go in the examination. Okay? Any doubt?
No, sir.